And I
It's
do
like,
feel like they set my girl up. They set her up to fail. Okay. There was no way she could come out of that looking all right, and they set her up. But anyway.
all right, here we go. Another relaunch, the official first episode.
Ooh, ooh. Yeah, yeah.
This is very exciting. I'm excited.
I'm excited. This should be a lot of fun.
And this was a big week too. We had like a lot. I mean, honestly, not a lot of books, but a lot of stuff happened in the books that did come out.
Agreed.
It was a very, very, very big week. And I guess, we'll just get straight into it. And honestly, no, we're actually not going to start with that. We're going to do that one last.
Okay.
Because I know you know exactly which book I'm talking about.
You already know, yeah.
So no, actually, I'll do a quick plug for my favorite character and my favorite book, Aquaman, currently written by Kelly Sue DeConnick.
We love her.
And she is amazing. She's done a lot of great work. She came onto the book, I want to say, with issue 48, 49. I'd have to double check that. Don't fact check me. But she actually came in like on a very temporary basis. She was only supposed to do maybe, I think, an arc or so, but DC kept her on. So she's been on the book for, I want to say, maybe about like 20 issues or so now. And she's actually winding down her run. And so the current 2 issues are an Aqualad-focused story written by a new writer named Jordan Clark. He's a really, really awesome, nice guy. I follow him on Twitter. And this is basically his first big comics work. He is a Black gay man from Baltimore.
Yes, let's go for that.
Yeah, right? So it's been like super exciting to like kind of watch him grow and like put this out there and be like super proud of it. And his story is focusing on Aqualad, who is Aquaman's gay Black sidekick. Most people know him from Young Justice, and the iconic. And I think this is just a really good story. So when Aqualad first was created, he was not a gay character. When DC went through one of their reboots, this one called Rebirth, the character was reintroduced into their universe and he was revealed to be gay. And so it hasn't been like a super huge plot point in a lot of the books, but it does get mentioned a lot. I think the thing with Jackson, Aqualad, is that he hasn't had too many super focused stories just on him. And so with this one, Jordan basically gets out there, him being gay, like how he feels about it. The first 2 times that he revealed to people that he was gay, mainly his parents, his mom had like a very adverse reaction to it. Black Manta had a very, I don't care, like I don't know you, I just found out you're my son. Why would I care about you being gay? And so in this arc, he actually meets the AI version of his grandfather.
Oh,
yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah. And so he's like super apprehensive about actually telling him that he's gay just because of how he did with the parents and that reaction they had. And it's really, really nice to read because I feel like that's just a very real reaction that a gay person would have. Like all of the people who are supposed to support you and love you, you come out to them and it's kind of like not what you expect it to be. And so now here you are with yet another family member who you're really just meeting, who's also not real, but we'll glaze past that. And you're revealing this thing about yourself and you don't know how he's going to react. So Jackson's like super apprehensive to it. And I just thought that was super interesting and super relatable. And Jordan Clark is doing a really good job making that story for Jackson. And I just think that's awesome.
I think that's dope. You're making me want to jump on Aquaman now. I feel like...
So let me tell you, DC has a lot of problems. And that's a story for another day. But DC has a lot of problems. But Aquaman has consistently been one of their best books. I think all of the writers who have come on have been very strong. Dan Abnett, Kelly Sue, someone else had a run that I can't remember right now. But they've all been doing just like really consistent work with Arthur and Mara and building up that whole world. And because Aquaman is popular, but not super popular, he doesn't get all the like editorial interference. It's kind of like, we're going to push this character because people know him, but at the same time, they feel as though, I guess, maybe he's not important enough to have his world rocked in a major way. So they kind of leave his stories alone. So whereas they're constantly messing with Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Flash, just
Batman again, because it's always Batman.
Batman again. Batman again. Aquaman's just kind of been left alone to do his own thing. And it has been the biggest blessing in the world for that book. So if you've ever had any type of interest in Aquaman, it's something I really say that I think people should pick up. Again, Kelly Sue is a pretty great writer. I think she hits things that Arthur never really dealt with, in terms of his mom. Like, a lot of people constantly play up, he's King of Atlantis. She plays up like how he's got mommy issues, which is like super real. He does. His mom basically abandoned him when he was a child. She deals with things about how they say he is this person who deals with all this persecution because he's from a different world, but he's also still this white guy. It's like, who's really persecuting you?
And this is all in Kelly Sue's run?
This is all in Kelly Sue's run.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And it's like, I'll never forget. So the episode, the issue where Aqualad actually first comes to the island that Aquaman lives on, he gets arrested. Yeah, and like for no other reason that he's a black guy. And so, and they actually talk about it. Like, Aquaman goes to pick him up, and he's like, "I'm so sorry that happened to you. Like, I like to think my town is better than this. I like to think that we know better. Obviously, they still have work to do, and I still have work to do with them to make them understand." So it's like really good. It's just like she really hits on a lot of different things that you don't necessarily get in an Aquaman run, and I super appreciate it. And so everyone gonna get that.
I wonder if she kind of like had any input on bringing in the writer to do the Aqualad story, because it's obvious that he would have a better understanding of kind of how to write that story. I wonder if she was like, let me kind of step aside and give this to someone who would probably do a better job with it.
I know for sure that he stepped in because she fell behind. Like, she's been very vocal. I guess, okay. Like with quarantine stuff, and then like she's married, she's married to Matt Fraction.
Right. Yeah.
And they've got their kids and like going back to school and everything like that.
Real life.
She just was saying how she just really started to kind of fall behind. And that is how Jordan came in as the guest writer, and she was just like so appreciative. And her run is ending soon, so I think this is like a time, like if you want to really get into it, like you can get a whole reading of it at one sitting. You don't have to like come in midway and then go back and pick up a bunch of issues. It's like, pick it up from the beginning, read these issues, and then you're done.
I have DC Universe, soon to be DC Universe Infinite, and and I will definitely have to check more of this out. I like I like Kelly Sue, so
she's I'm into this. Woman, she's very consistent in her writing. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
The second big book of the week, which was just fantastic, was Immortal She-Hulk.
Ooh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I read this. This one.
I'm so glad. So, you guys, LZ is like very fake when it comes to She-Hulk.
Okay. I mean, okay.
he is very fake when it comes to She-Hulk. It's very like, I don't know, I don't see it for her.
I mean, you didn't have to put me on the Summer Jam screen, but
no,
fine.
I definitely did, because we have to air it out. We have to let the people know. But so I'm a huge Al Ewing fan, like massive.
Yeah,
and
he's great.
There's very few things that he's written that I have not enjoyed, and his Immortal Hulk consistently probably the best book Marvel's putting out right now.
That is insane. I haven't started that one yet. I know. Everyone, I know. I hear great things about it, and I still haven't started yet. It's in my Marvel Unlimited library, but all I ever hear about is how great this book is. And like, I'm not a Hulk fan, and I see people who are also like me who aren't Hulk fans go up for this book. So
I'm one of those people. I've never been an Incredible Hulk fan.
Don't see it for him.
He just doesn't do it for me. I don't get it. And I don't even really remember how I started to read this. I think I was on a plane going on a trip somewhere, and it was like, again, like you said, people had just spoken about the book so highly. And I remember reading an interview and Al Ewing was talking about how he was kind of giving it this horror concept, and I really like horror comics. Again, huge Al Ewing fan, so I was just like, the first 8 issues at the time were on the Marvel Unlimited app. So I'm like on the flight, and I was like, you know what? Let me just go ahead and read it. Blown away. Soon as I landed, went ahead and bought all of it up to the current issue, which I think at that time it was at like 14 or 15. And every month I'm here. It is just the character work, and again, never been an Incredible Hulk fan. Once this run ends, I will probably never read another Incredible Hulk comic again. But it's just amazing. The way that he's weaving the story, it's very, and again, it's at a point now where it's very far along, and I feel like a lot of Marvel writers, comic writers in general these days, don't get to tell their full story with their character.
No.
Or their book is constantly just like relaunched, rebooted, new number one. This is one of the few books that has gotten just the room to breathe. It has consistently gained readers throughout its entire run so far, and it's just amazing. And I can't speak highly enough about the book. At this point, like when I tell people about it, I have nothing else to say other than just read it. Just read it.
I'm going to start it. I got to.
Yeah, you got to. So, with that being said, when this one shot was announced, I was super excited because Ewing has just been doing amazing things with Bruce and Hulk, and I have not been a huge fan of She-Hulk's current characterization.
And you mean like the Avengers?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I was on that book for a little bit, you know. I'm a Captain Marvel stan, but which I see in Immortal She-Hulk, you know, Jennifer is down with Carol too. I'm sure we'll get there. But you know, I was into that Avengers book for a little bit, but like it's not going anywhere for me. It feels like it's trying to make some kind of thing that will be developed into a movie at some point.
Agreed. It's just not for me. And you know, I realized over the years, although I can read Avengers book, I am not a fan of most of the Avengers characters together.
Always like them.
Yeah, it just like doesn't. And then that's the thing. It's like the characters who I don't like are typically some of the biggest Avengers. Iron Man. I do not see it for Iron Man in the slightest. Like ever.
Oh wow.
Never have. Never have. I'm also just not a huge fan of like the technology type characters.
Okay, fair.
Suits of armor, whatever, magic armor, whatever it does, it just it just doesn't do it for me.
Okay.
The Hulk. No, I said the Hulk. I mean, yes, the Hulk also. Thor, like, don't really see it from the only time. And it's interesting because the only time I have ever liked Thor was during Jason Aaron's Thor run.
Yeah, iconic.
Yeah, super amazing. I do love Captain America. I won't lie about that.
I mean,
Captain Marvel, you do. Don't see it for her. Captain Marvel, that is.
You and I have discussed this.
and again, that'll probably be another thing that we'll talk about in another episode. It is. We'll save that. Okay. She-Hulk. That's who we're talking about right now. I haven't been a huge fan of her current characterization, despite being a huge fan of the character. I actually recently got into She-Hulk. I want to say maybe like 5 years ago.
Okay, so you're like a fairly recent.
I was always like
fan or stan.
Stan, definitely.
Okay,
she's like she's like fave.
All right.
I was always kind of like a far away fan. Like I saw her. I'm into street level stuff.
Right.
But of course I was apprehensive because I'm not a huge Hulk fan, so I didn't really feel like I would gel with She-Hulk. But things that I had seen with She-Hulk in it, I felt a little bit more. Okay, I might be able to ride with this. I might be able to do this. And so I was on some forum on a comic book site one day, and they were talking about Dan Slott's run. And I was like, you know, I kind of like Dan Slott. I know he's a bit of a controversial person for a lot of people.
Myself.
But yeah. But I was like, a lot of the stuff that I had read from Dan Slott, I really, really enjoyed. And so I had actually tried to read the Charles Soule She-Hulk run, and it was fine. I enjoyed that. I didn't really care for the art. It was if it had to be to your taste, I'll say that.
Okay, fair. Right.
Yeah.
New thing, it's not for you.
Exactly. It just wasn't for me. The story itself was fine. And so I went back, I read the Dan Slott run, loved it. I was like, oh, this is amazing. Went back again, and just started reading like her books from her original series, other books she had from the 70s. There was the Tamaki run that also came out a few years ago. Went back and reread that. I just like consumed everything She-Hulk, and I was just blown away. The stories were fun. The characterization was great. Jen has just this very good-natured, just great ambiance about her, and I think her stories are also funny, and I think in a lot of Marvel titles starring the women, the writers, I don't know how to put this so it sounds good, so I'm just actually not going to say it. Just forget what I was just saying right there. But the She-Hulk's books always just felt different. She also breaks the fourth wall, which is a super fun thing that she does.
Does she still do that?
I haven't seen her. Well, I haven't really been paying that much attention to Avengers, so I haven't seen it there.
Fair. I doubt she'd even do it now in her like enraged monster state. So
yeah, so that was another thing. I also am not a fan of like monster She-Hulk.
Yeah.
I just think it's a little tired. So I was shocked that Ewing was able to kind of like make it work.
Yeah. Oh yeah. This issue was really good.
The issue itself was just really, really good. I love the entire discussion. First of all, again, I love Wolverine.
Yes.
So as soon as I saw that he was guest starring, I was like, yeah, I'm in. And once I saw the preview of them having the conversation of her asking him about death, perfect. If there's anyone you're going to talk to death about, it's going to be Wolverine.
Oh yeah. He'd have been there.
He has done it. He has killed the people. He knows all about it. And so I just thought that conversation was like super poignant. I thought the bits that they talked about Krakoa was actually really great also. Where he was kind of like, it's only bad to you because you can't go. Like, if it never existed, you wouldn't care at all.
Relatable.
And very like
if you had access to it, you wouldn't care.
Yeah, and it's just like, but you don't, and so now it's a problem. And Ewing taking her through the journey of her 3 deaths was just really well done, and the trauma. And She-Hulk is a character who has like dealt with a lot of trauma. In the Tamaki run, she was dealing with her problems, and she was going to therapy, and she was sad, she was depressed. That's when she was like gray. She's had a lot of instability in her life. She's had a lot of just really bad moments that have almost taken her out mentally, not even like, obviously she's She-Hulk, she is like strong, she can resist almost anything, but it's Jennifer Walters who suffers. And I just thought the way he did that, he pulled that in, was like just amazing. It was like really well done.
I feel like again, I haven't read Immortal Hulk yet, and I'm going to get to it, but Ewing, I did read Empire, and as feelings about that aside, I will say that it did pay homage to continuity, and I wonder if that is like Ewing's doing. I know that Empire was both him and Dan Slott, but I wonder if he just really knows how to kind of like take someone's continuity in their past and kind of weave it forward and kind of push it forward and kind of go now. And that's kind of what I got from this She-Hulk book, with him going back and showing the different times that she's died and how it's like actually affected her, and her going into the place below, which I thought was so sinister. Oh my gosh.
The Green Door. The art was real. The art was amazing and totally did the story. I need to go back and see who the artist was for this book because he was really good.
So I'm checking it out. It's John Davis Hunt. Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. I think this was the first thing I've ever seen from him. I don't recognize that name. Super talented. He really sold the scenes, the horror, the creepiness, the fear, the sadness.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, yeah, I'm here for that. I am absolutely here for that. I'm super hopeful that the book turns into some form of ongoing.
She-Hulk needs one.
She needs one. She deserves one.
Yeah.
You know? She was Marvel's premier girl for a while, you know?
Well,
before
it is what it is. Some stars just rise to the top. It is what it is.
When they're pushed on you, that's what happens.
Hey, you know, we can all get the budget.
I guess you gotta waste money to make money sometimes. You know?
How did you feel about them, or I should say Outwing really showing She-Hulk what she told Carol as she was kind of dying in this book?
I appreciated it. You know, again, I think
now I know you are not Team Carol, but this is basically her.
It is. It's her right.
She was with Carol's side during Civil War II, which I think was a terrible event. I'm just going to go ahead and say it was a bad event. It
absolutely awful.
There wasn't really like sides to the event. There's no way you could possibly be on the other side on Carol's side. And I do feel like they set my girl up. They set her up to fail. Okay. There was no way she could come out of that looking all right, and they set her up. Yeah. But anyway,
she's definitely Captain Maga.
How did you feel about that? She was on that side that she was.
I appreciated it, and I think it actually fell in line with kind of just the conversation that she had just had with Wolverine prior. You know, at the end of the day, Jennifer Walters is a privileged white woman. She's a lawyer. You know what I'm saying? So she looks at the law, and even Carol. You know, as much crap as I give Carol, Carol is like space police. She's a police officer, basically. Mm-hmm. You know, the way they're going to look at things is never really going to align with the way you and I would look at something. We just have completely different mindsets. We have completely different lives. The way that they live, what she does, their work, yeah, it makes sense. Of course, that same lens could make you think that Jen would see it the other way, about how profiling is wrong, because she has seen so many people wrongfully sentenced. Fair. You know?
Yeah.
But they didn't take it that way. So
I feel like they probably took it the way where you were kind of saying, where she is an attorney, so she probably would side with the law, and the law would probably, you know,
determine whether or not that person was. Yeah. No, absolutely. Again, another book. Definitely go and pick it up.
For sure.
I'm hopeful for more. What did you take away from it? You know, you coming into it as a non-She-Hulk fan, how did you feel? Like, what was your first thought?
I picked it up because it was Ewing, and I'm a fan of his writing, and I do like She-Hulk. You know, I'm always support the women. Not all of them. I ain't even gonna lie. Let me not even front like. But I'm always support the women, and I liked the concept of all of this. Like I heard the concept of what he was doing with the Hulk and Immortal Hulk. So I figured, okay, cool. If he's kind of doing that with She-Hulk, I wonder how he's going to show that through like a different lens, because I do feel like sometimes it can be really easy to just make all the Hulks kind of read the same. But I appreciate the fact that Jen was always the one that had control of herself when she went into her Hulk form. And she wasn't like, she didn't lose her smarts. And I really appreciated it in this book with him kind of explaining like the whole sentence structure thing.
Yeah.
That was really cool. So
Aaron hasn't really done good with that.
Yeah, no. No, not at all. So I kind of went into this hoping that this would kind of make me want to learn more about She-Hulk, and it did. It definitely did, because I really like the spin on this. I like the way that he kind of brought in and didn't really ignore her past, which I feel like can be really easy when you kind of quote unquote relaunch a character, to just kind of ignore it all and go from scratch. But I like that he kind of took her past and launched it forward to kind of where you can kind of go from here. I don't see why they don't turn this into an ongoing. It should be.
It needs to be. And I'm hopeful. And honestly, like, we'll talk a lot more about She-Hulk. As I said, she's probably my number one main Marvel girl. Like of the non-X characters. Like, it's definitely She-Hulk. So we're gonna give some time to her, and we'll come back to this, and hopefully by that time you'll have read some Immortal Hulk, so we can get a little bit deeper into like some of the plot points, especially stuff like the Green Door. I'm pretty sure.
I don't know what that is, but but I was into
it. We'll like get into the Green Door a little bit more, and like some other things like that. So I'm excited. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I hope everyone else who read it enjoyed it. I hope you tell people about it so they can go and buy it, so we can support my girl, because she needs a new book.
She does.
I want to free her from the Avengers.
It's what she deserves.
It's what she deserves. Okay, and wrapping that up, we're going to get to the big book of the week.
Ooh.
The monster, the absolute just behemoth.
Yes.
That is 10 of Swords.
Ooh.
Creation, number one. The big X-Men kickoff event. 10 of Swords.
Polaris stands,
swords.
We rise. And by we, I know it ain't but like me and two other people, but but we rise.
The Polaris and the Rachel stands have been having a very good few weeks.
Yes.
So shout out to them, and because I know it's been hard out here for you guys.
You know, it's been rough. It's been rough, but it looks like justice is being served.
Justice is being served. Okay. So, gosh, where do you even start with this?
I don't even know. Is it 10 of Swords? Is it X of Swords?
It's pronounced 10 of Swords. It is because Teeny said that, when they were doing Hoxpox, that it was House of X and Powers of 10.
Right. And
so because they were doing like the X for the 10, she said the X for the swords, and then like the 10 of Swords is a tarot card, I believe.
Yeah.
And then there's a lot of tarot involved in this event, magic, high fantasy, that is like Teeny loves tarot apparently. And so that's how she did it. And so she even admitted it in an interview I read of her. She was like, it's my fault because we did like the Powers of 10 and Hoxpox. Like I thought, 10 of Swords with the X would be fun. She's like, but whatever. She was like, say whatever you want. It doesn't matter. Just enjoy it.
And I did.
Okay. Like,
I did. Yes.
So if you are not familiar with what this event is about, you should go and buy Excalibur.
I agree. Yes, it will help. It will help you very much understand this event. I do think that this book helps you get into Excalibur, which is probably a problem in itself. But I do think that it does enhance the story.
Okay, so let me be real about Excalibur. Really quick sidebar. Actually, before I even get into Excalibur, let me start off with this. I love Teeny Howard. Okay. Yes. I think she is brilliant.
I see your tweets.
Okay. I think she is like chock full of really great ideas. I think she is a very forward thinker and like where she wants to take characters and what she wants to do. I think that she has what it takes to be like the next great comic book writer. Like I truly think that if you give her a couple of years and you give her some fine tuning, they will talk about her in the same regard they talk about like a Morrison, a Hickman,
all right,
a Johns, whoever. I like 100%. Like that is my honest feeling.
yes.
Excalibur is rough. And this is something that you and I have talked about like ad nauseum. Something that I have tweeted about ad nauseum. Mm-hmm. How frustrating the book is because you get bits and pieces of those concepts, of her brilliance, of her like genius. Like you say, oh, these ideas sound really, really good. Like I kind of get where she's going, but it just never fully forms. It doesn't quite click. It never fully clicks with you. And I've always said that I felt like she was writing that way on purpose because this event was happening. And I felt like she was always saving the meat of the story for the event. And she was basically using Excalibur as just, I just need to get you there. It's just like...
And you know, after reading X of Swords creation, I agree with you. Like it kind of, that makes sense. Because it does feel like the first, like what, 12 issues now of Excalibur?
Yeah.
It felt, looking back after reading this, it feels like that was all to get you to this
point right here. Exactly. And you know, and Ten of Swords is like the event she kind of pushed for the X books.
Oh, wow. That's dope.
Yeah. A lot of the concepts and ideas of it are things that she was obviously doing in Excalibur, and she was talking about it, and that's kind of how this event formed. So this is like her event, really. And I know a lot of people have been saying, oh, this is a Hickman issue. Hickman saved Excalibur. He's made it all make sense. But it's like, you have to give Tini her credit. It might have been rough in that book, but like, these are her ideas and concepts at the root.
Yeah.
You know, she planted all of this. She got us here. And she co-wrote the issue. So it's like, honestly,
I name on the book too.
She did something, and it's like I feel like a lot of those Saturnine pages, a lot of those tarot pages that were in the book, I think those were her.
Yeah. She seems to be really into Saturnine too, so I wouldn't be surprised if that was her
writing, you know. And like I saw a lot of people online that those were some of their favorite parts.
Yeah.
So it's like, again, yes, Excalibur is rough. It is an extremely frustrating book. I will never deny that.
As a Betsy fan, I'm sure you've got plenty to say about it, and I know we'll get there. We'll save that for another time, I'm sure.
That's like a whole conversation on its own. You know, but I think she has what it takes, and I truly kind of feel like when this event is over and we do go back to like regular book schedules, I think Excalibur will read a little bit better. Yeah. I think now that she has kind of like gotten us to the point where she needs to, she can dig a little bit deeper into characterization and character interaction, letting people use their powers and doing things like that. And you also have to remember with her, she's still very new to comics.
Right. Yeah.
I don't even think she's been writing for like more than 5 years yet.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. That could be a lie. I truly feel like that's it.
Okay.
But I just know she hasn't done a lot. Like she did Strike Force, which I enjoyed also. Mm-hmm. She did a Death's Head mini. I read that. It was fine.
There's a who mini?
Death's Head. He's an UK character.
Got it.
I believe she did and I go back and forth. There's a couple I enjoy. I believe she did a Thanos mini also.
Oh, okay.
Or like a Thanos one shot or something like that.
I have to check that out.
And she did some indie book called Assassinistas. Yeah. But I think those are the only things she's ever really like written comic wise. She's still very new to the comic industry in general. And again, that's another reason why I kind of give some leeway to Excalibur, because like I see it, but it's like you got to give people room to grow.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
But Ten of Swords knocked it out of the park. All expectations.
Wow. Truly. Wow.
Truly. And, you know, I think this is great because it was very similar to Hoxpox where you didn't know what was going to happen.
Yeah. I had some guesses. I had some guesses before going in, and none of my guesses came true. So that was great to actually see. Shout out to them having that kind of fake out. in the marketing for when they were showing the tarot cards with like the swap out of Glob and Rock Slide, that was cool.
Yeah,
I
that was
think that
good.
that's something that they should definitely start doing more of. That way we aren't like spoiled to stuff that happens, because some of us are really quick to hurry up and look at the solicits as soon as something comes out or whatever, and then a whole plot can really be spoiled. So I thought that was kind of dope to see that.
I did enjoy that as well. I also the art was just Pepe Larraz's.
Yeah, Pepe Larraz. Let's get. Wow.
I hope they have him like locked in a room somewhere.
Oh, for sure. Because I need plenty more. He loves to give the girls a bayang. You know, he loves to give them an old sassy bang, and I need more of that.
It was good. And I think a little bit to your point where you were like, you kind of had some guesses. Like I had a couple. So the only thing I actually knew was that this was going to culminate in Apocalypse trying to go back and get his kids, his original 4 horsemen. I've been saying that like since forever. Yeah. I think someone actually pulled up like one of my tweets about it, where I was like, during the Werewolf arc on Excalibur.
Ooh, child, I ain't like that arc.
I
do not like that werewolf thing, but we'll get to X Factor.
We were someone pulled that up, and during that arc I remember I was talking about it. I was like, they are used to transport to other dimensions. I was like, Apocalypse is really trying really hard to get into Otherworld and like make this a thing. You remember that in, I think it was X-Men 2, when Summoner first arrived, they talked about how Arakko was connected to Otherworld. So it was like, as soon as I saw all of that, I was like, oh, he's trying to get to Arakko so he can get these kids. I didn't know it was going to be to the extent of it was. Them creating an entire new world over there.
Yeah. Insane.
Amazing.
Right? How dope. Amith? Is that how you pronounce it?
That's what I've been saying.
That's what I've been saying too.
So, let's hope that's how you say it. So I'll ask you. No, I won't even ask you that yet. Having Summoner tell the story of this world, whether you believe it or not, I know a lot of people have been speculating that he's been lying about the whole Genesis annihilation thing, which, wow, what a moment.
Wow. Wow.
Like, wow, what a moment. The part of Genesis talking to Iska, the Unbeaten.
I mean, the reveal of her switching sides, like, wow.
What a queen.
What a queen.
Absolute queen. Okay?
She can't lose.
Okay, like
she can't lose.
And that's T. And it's like, you gotta respect that.
You do. You do.
It's like, I don't got no beef with you. I actually support your cause and what you're doing, but you're gonna lose.
Sure, and I can't lose, so I gotta switch sides.
That's not a team I know. That's not a team I care to be on. It's not a team I care to meet, so I gotta bounce. And it's like, yes, cool, totally understand that. But they also had like their little secret convo, which I'm pretty sure we're going to get again.
For sure.
What was said between them. So that was really nice. And Saturnine was just really powerful, which I'm kind of confused about, because I was under the impression that she didn't have powers.
I was always under that impression too, that she was just like a ethereal, like, human thing. Yeah, I didn't know that she was like this powerful, but I guess that makes sense, because isn't she supposed to be like,
she's like the Magistrix?
Yeah, the like omniversal. Yeah. So,
but I always also thought that was Roma. But again, like, I'm pretty sure we'll get all the answers to that as well. So it's like, we saw the different kingdoms of Otherworld, and I'm pretty sure Roma was like in charge of one of those kingdoms.
Oh, okay. Was that in one of the data pages?
Yeah, I feel like that was. Data pages. Love those.
Oh, whoa. Yes, love these data pages in this.
Love those data pages. Like, fantastic. The map of Otherworld, just the explanation of things. It's fantastic.
Absolutely love it.
I really want to have a sit down with Teenie and Hickman.
Oh yeah.
Just to like talk to them
and see where, and see like, be like, where did y'all come up with this?
It's just like, it's just like, what do you guys smoke? Where can I get it?
For real. For real.
Pass me some of the genius, pass me some of the writing skills, pass me some of the world building, because I love it. And it is just, it's a fun comic book. And, you know, so reading it, basically, the plot of this story is we finally got into Araco.
Yep.
Apocalypse sees his kids don't bang with him anymore.
They do not.
They are trying to conquer Otherworld and basically get to Krakoa so they can destroy it, because they're just pissed off. They've been at war for millennia. They got anger issues now. And Saturnine is up in her citadel. She sees it all happening. She clearly has her own game playing. She comes down. She's like, you guys aren't going to fight. We're going to do this the way I do it.
Wait. Hold up. We got to back it up, because before Apocalypse went to go get his kids, do you remember that he was having this whole council thing, and you know, he was sitting in front of the council and explaining to them that, you know, this is his grandson and the whole story with and everything. And it ends with them basically all saying, we need to completely destroy the external gate, because Apocalypse was like, you know, hey, I built this gate, and like it's for mutants, but other things can come through. All of them, everybody wants to, well, I won't say everybody, because it looks like only the Summer Council members, Jean, Storm, and Nightcrawler, they were the only ones who didn't vote yes to destroy the gate.
Which fits for them.
Which does fit for them. And he did not get like clearance from the council to kind of go off and do his own thing. And he says,
this is very anti-council.
Yeah, they say, you know, you don't have our blessing to whatever you got planned. Just go off and do whatever you're going to do. And he says he's going to get volunteers. And we turn the page, and who do we see? Lorna Dane.
Oh, this is what we had to back up for.
That's right, y'all. That's right. Yes. I really appreciated the team that he built, and the reasons that they were all there, you know?
The reasons were amazing. The reasons felt real.
They all felt like genuine reasons for all of them to be there. Because I hate it when teams are just kind of thrown together on a whim. Kind of like X Factor is, where they just kind of like bumped into each other, or they just, hey, this is a team now.
We just all happen to be in this city at the same time.
Right, yeah. I appreciated the reasons for all of them being there, you know, with Polaris being like, oh, my dad told me that, you know, I got to represent for the fam, so I got to be here. And I was nervous with Havoc being there because
You're not a fan of that relationship, correct?
I am not. That I am not. No, they should not be together. But that's a whole nother story. They should not. And I appreciated that instead of just putting them together, because it would be so easy to just fall back on that nostalgia, just having them show up together, united. They both were there for separate reasons. And it felt very much like we just both happened to be at the same mission. Then we came to this mission together, which I appreciated, you know?
Right.
But yes. Yeah. Continue though. Then they go through and, you know, meet the kids.
They meet the kids, you know, Apocalypse tries to, I don't know, appeal to their,
I guess.
he's like crying and stuff. It's actually pretty embarrassing for him.
Yeah. Although this is the most I've ever been interested in Apocalypse.
No, it's the best story that and so I say this as an Apocalypse stan.
Okay.
Like I love Apocalypse. I think he's amazing. Shit, yes. But he does not have a lot of good stories.
No.
He's got Age of Apocalypse. He has Messiah War. I will actually give to him. I thought that was very good. You know, it had Strife in it. I'm also a Strife fan. I think Strife should have been the real son as opposed to Cable.
Controversial.
But you know, when you get to a lot of those Apocalypse stories, they're just not very good. You know, I think, and I'm glad that one of the things that they've kind of done is evolve him beyond the survival of the fittest mantra.
Yeah.
Because And I think that was the problem with a lot of stories. Like, it's just very old because it's like, you are sitting here spouting about the survival of the fittest, but sir, you always lose.
Yes. That is fair. Good point.
It's just like you always lose. And then the horseman who you grab. And so I will say that I think this also kind of warmed me to like the way he treats all of his other past horsemen, because it's like, it's this mix of, I have new horsemen, I love them, there's this adoration that these are my new children, plus this like spite of, you'll never be as good as the originals. And I'll never really have them, and so like that's why I kind of treat you like shit at the end of the day. It's like, and I think that was a really good point, even in his little conversation with Warren that he had. You know, Warren was very much like, you turned me into Archangel, you kind of manipulated me and ruined my life and destroyed me. And Apocalypse is like, well, look at you now, you look great.
You look great.
As opposed to when he saw his children and he shed tears.
Right.
And it was like, I can't believe I left you and you've been hurting and you've been lost. It's just like, wow, this is great. This is Apocalypse. This is amazing. He's my father. And that he sees these kids and they're basically like, we've been at war since you left us, because of course they look at it as a completely different way. They don't see it as you kind of left to save humanity from whatever else was coming. You just left us to rot and save yourself. And that has been something that's been said about Apocalypse a lot recently, especially over in Excalibur. You know, if you read Excalibur issue 12, which was a prelude issue into this, you had both Richter and Selene make that comment after he sacrificed 4 of the externals.
Yeah, to make the gate.
Yeah, Selene says to him, you always put everybody else to do these type of things or put themselves on the altar, and you never do it. Richter even did the same thing, when he burst out the lava. He's like, you manipulated Rogue. He's like, I think you're manipulating Betsy. He's like, you're not going to manipulate me. He's like, stop it. He's like, you're just playing with everybody. But that's all Apocalypse knows how to do. So it's just a very interesting thing that's going on there. So they fight the kids. Saturnine comes down. She's like, not on my street. This is how we're going to do it.
Not on my block. We don't do that.
She said, I don't know how y'all do shit where you're from, but not around here. And she puts them up to a competition, contest of champions is basically what it is. And I actually genuinely appreciate that, because I'm a person who loves contest of champion type stories, but I do not enjoy hero versus hero.
Okay.
So I think of like Avengers No Surrender.
Oh, I loved it.
Amazing.
So much fun. Yeah.
Amazing. Things like that. Even in contests of champion type stories, it works because the people are like typically possessed or mind controlled in some form or fashion. They're breaking free and then they're working together. And so in this one, it's very much like you're going to get like your 10 warriors here, their 10 warriors. You guys are going to fight. Whoever wins, do what you got to do. But you don't have to get the contrived reasonings that heroes have to fight against other heroes.
Yeah.
It's not the X-Men walking up in your house like, hey, we're about to take your kid. And people are supposed to be okay with that.
Yeah, that was the story. But I think that with this is like a good old-fashioned duel, it seems like, right?
Yeah.
I think, but with a high fantasy background to it, but with the X-Men, and it's sci-fi still kind of, because they can't really die. So
it hits a lot of different story beats, and it's just super well done. And I think the 10 Swords, I think it's great how it's already been built upon in so many different books already.
Yeah.
Like, I think we already know about the majority of the swords except for like 1 or 2.
For the most part, yeah. I think the only ones. So I'm looking at them, and let's take guesses at who you think would have them. So the mutants anyway. So there's the Muramasa, that's obviously going to Wolverine, right?
Totally.
Yeah. The Sword of Might.
Brian has that.
Right. Right?
He got it he got it in Excalibur, issue 6 after, Betsy became Captain Britain and Brian gave her the amulet.
Oh, yes, that's right.
Yeah, so around I think it was Excalibur number 6, he kind of says that they came back to him and gave him the choice, but he chose the sword this go round, which is also weird to me, because I feel like he could have just got his amulet back.
Yeah, I think that's part of the story. I think that
it's again like Teeny's building something here. So
yeah, for sure.
I'll just let it go. I'm pretty sure it's going to come back up. So yeah, Sword of Might is to Brian.
The Starlight Sword.
I think Betsy's going to get that.
I think she is too.
I'm pretty sure that has something to do with the Citadel.
Yeah.
So she'll probably get
that. I think she's going to get that. The Grass Cutter?
I think Gorgon has that.
I think so too.
So I think I'm pretty sure Gorgon has 2 swords, and I think he has the Grass Cutter and the God Killer.
Oh, okay. So he has both of them.
Yeah.
That's the other sword. The next one is the God Killer. And I didn't know who had that.
I think he has both of those.
I thought that Conan was going to get that because weren't they trying to like say that she was a God Killer or something in...
Maybe. Who knows?
I remember in Fallen Angels, they tried to I could have swore they were trying to say that she was like born to be some God Killer or something, but I didn't finish it because Fallen Angels was something. It was a fallen angel. Anywho.
You're trying to get me started today.
The next one is Warlock. Definitely Doug, right?
Doug. Which is like, why is Warlock classified as a shield? A sword. I'll be interested to figure out where that comes from.
Yeah, I don't know why that is either. That should be interesting. The next one is the soul sword. My girly, Magic.
Yeah.
Let's keep it cute. The next one is the Scarab.
That's Apocalypse, I think.
I think those are blades they...
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
His sword is nice.
It looks cool.
Yeah.
The Light of Galador. That's Cable.
I was about to say, that's the one Cable got in his book, right?
Yeah. Okay. Great book, by the way. Skybreaker.
I think that's the one Storm will get.
Yeah.
In Wakanda.
I wonder, do you think she's getting it from there? Is it hers already and it's in Wakanda, or does she go there to go and get it?
I think this solicit for that Marauders issue said they were traveling there to get it.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if it's already hers. I don't think it is.
Okay.
Which is kind of upsetting to me. There were a lot of it's still potential to happen, but there were a lot of theories about that ancestor of hers.
Right. Yeah.
I think Ashaki.
I don't know how to pronounce it. Apologies.
Yeah, apologies. We'll just say Ashaki for right now. If anyone knows, please feel free to let us know the correct way.
Yeah.
She apparently had a similar looking sword in some page, and she has a magical background. And I know there are a lot of Storm fans who want her to delve into magic a lot more.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's potential that it's still somehow connected to her. When they get to Wakanda, we'll figure that out. But
her ancestry or something.
Yeah, but if it's not, I'll be a little bit upset.
Yeah, I hope that there's a little bit more meaning to it other than it just being called Skybreaker, and who else would have that but Storm? Exactly. I hope that there's more to it than that. But yeah, those are all 10 of them. I think so. For the most part, we can pretty much figure out who is going to be in this tournament.
And it's so I remember Jordan D. White, X-Men editor, was on Twitter answering questions, and somebody was asking him about 10 of Swords, and he said that not everybody brings the right sword.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, I think about a lot of the other things that have happened. We've got the Cerebro sword out there.
Right.
We saw that, I think it was a Advanced X Factor cover of Lorna coming out of a resurrection pod.
Yeah.
And she was holding a sword. So it'll be interesting to see, I'm pretty sure the first half of this event is them going out to get the swords that they don't have. Mm-hmm. So it's just going to be interesting to see if they A, actually get them all, B, if they get it, it's not the right sword, or if it's C, they just don't get it and they just come with whatever. The Cerebro sword.
Yeah.
Which
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, you could go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I feel like you had a theory about Jean using the cerebral sword. Yes.
I was under the impression that the cerebral sword was going to be one of the swords that was going to be used in Ten of Swords. Yeah, and I figured that they would want to give Jean that and let her use it because she was the last one to have it, and because I mean, low-key, sometimes when they want to do more with Jean, they just give her like a cool power moment instead of actually like giving her a story. So I was like convinced that she would get the sword and like have some cool moment there, but I don't think they're going to use it. I don't think that. I obviously know that it's out there, but I don't think that the cerebral sword is going to be involved in this.
Oh, okay.
That's my little take.
Interesting. All right. There were two. What's the Wolverine sword?
The Muramasa?
Muramasa, yeah. I don't know why I couldn't think of that name just now. She said that for both sides, didn't she?
She did, yes. So, well, both of the people said that. Polaris and I think it was Death was the other person.
Yeah, it was the Anubis one, right?
No, it wasn't. It was the other one with the like big head eye ornament thing. I don't know which one that.
I think that's Pestilence.
Pestilence? I think it is. But I think they were the one that said it, and so there are two Muramasa blades. I don't know what's going to happen there, but that should be interesting.
Very.
I assume those two blades will probably fight each other since they're probably the only things that can break each other. Like they.
Well, I know
cut each other.
Wolverine is supposed to be fighting the Solemn guy. Percy's been saying that like Solemn is going to be his big new nemesis.
Yeah.
Or something like that. So he probably has that sword.
That makes sense.
Which poor Sabretooth.
I mean, he's still down in the pit. Paying for his crimes.
He done lost his freedom. He done lost his nemesis.
Paying. That's true. Yeah. He's got nothing left now. I guess he's going to sit there.
Sad.
What about the end there with the final sword that I guess they need to go and get? Who knew? Who knew?
That is history.
That is great. There. How could you possibly have guessed? I don't know. Why didn't I even think about like?
Never crossed my mind.
That didn't even like ever come into my head that would be a sword that they would actually need.
Truly didn't even register.
Yeah.
And just knowing that it's leading into something else, you know, with that.
Talk about a setup.
Talk about a setup. that is truly one thing that I love about this Hickman era, Krakoan era, whatever you want to call it. Everyone is truly writing with each other, and it's very evident.
Yeah.
Like they're all building onto these stories together. It's not like someone's doing one thing and everyone else is kind of just trailing behind them. Of course, you know, like this was Hickman's grand idea, but you know, everyone has said, he's even said it himself, that he lets these people tell their stories. Of course, he might come in every now and again and be like, oh, I got this idea, or like, you know, maybe we can play this around or move this plot to a different place. But he very much lets them run wild and create their worlds. And again, like, look at this event. It mostly came from Teeny's mind and Excalibur. Yeah. And I think that is just fantastic, the way that they do that. So to know that, like, you know, they even had this, and then they've got this sword book that's coming out soon. They're saying, okay, let's go ahead. Let's start putting that in there.
Yeah. And I think that's such a, like, a dope way to like kind of keep building their world, you know, instead of just throwing some things out there. There's giving a lot of these things purpose. And I like that.
Yeah, extremely. And it just makes it all feel more connected.
Yeah.
You know, I think that was a issue that I had with Excalibur in the beginning. It was very disconnected from Krakoa as a whole. Mm-hmm. And you didn't see them interacting with anybody. And it was like, yes, I get it. Teeny was building up this mutant magic, this sense of community, this sense of history, and like what it means when they work together and how their powers advance and their community advances. But at the same time, it's like, we just got this island. this brand new world with this brand new status quo. We want to see these mutants in that first.
Yeah.
And not doing something else already.
Right.
And so I think that was where a lot of frustration came from in that book for a lot of people too, because it just felt so disconnected. It was just like, you say that this book is supposed to be important, you say it's supposed to have all these things, but it's like we never really see it. But again, we're seeing it now.
We're seeing it now. There was a plan.
There was a plan. So it's like, you gotta appreciate that.
Definitely. Great book.
Fantastic book.
Y'all gotta
highly
get
recommend
it. I highly recommend it.
Book of the week for sure.
For sure.
How did you feel? So the next issue is X Factor 4.
It is. It is. I am excited for it because I, as a Polaris stan, I feel like she's been very prominent in this event, more than I thought that she was ever really going to be.
Yeah, I did not see that coming for her.
Me neither. So I'm excited to see how, like, the way that she is operating post just finding out all this information. Is she going to be the one to kind of tell everyone, hey, these are the 10 swords, we got to go find them, what's going on there, on top of the fact that there were 2 fatal injuries in X of Swords creation. Who knows what is going to happen to these 2 people? So, like, do they need to get resurrected? What's going on there? I am not a fan of X Factor, but I'm still going to really dive into the story because I do like X of Swords. I'm not sure how long my love for Polaris will keep me on that book, but I'm excited for this next issue because it is a X of Swords.
I agree with you there. 100%. I will truthfully say that once this X of Swords tie-in is done, I will no longer be pulling X Factor.
Oh. Oh, damn. Okay.
It's sad. I really love Prodigy. I think that's the only person on that cast that I really love. And so I was excited to get more of his story, especially, he's powered again.
Yes.
So, did he go through the crucible? Did he get resurrected? I wanted to figure a little bit more of that out. But unfortunately, that writing style is just not to my taste. I've tried a couple of things that the writer has done, and I don't think I've enjoyed anything ever.
Right.
Yeah. No, that's a lie. I enjoyed the Giant Man miniseries.
Oh, I should check that out then. Is that Giant Man the most recent Giant Man, or was it?
So she used 4. So it actually had the new one, Raz Marhotha.
Okay.
It had Goliath.
Oh, Bill Foster?
Bill Foster.
Okay.
It had Scott Lang. And what is that other guy's name? I think he was a Thunderbolt. I can't remember.
Oh, the guy that was it the guy that was Black Ant?
Was he Black Ant? I don't know. Hold on. I'm gonna find his name.
Eric O'Grady.
No, it wasn't Eric. It was another guy. Was he a Thunderbolt? I think he was a Thunderbolt. I'm pretty sure he was a Thunderbolt. Maybe he wasn't a Thunderbolt. No, he was a Thunderbolt. Atlas.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, they brought him back? Oh, wow.
Yeah, so he was
okay.
So that was actually a pretty decent book. But I will say this. I think that Williams has a certain type of humor in her writing that doesn't really resonate a lot of times with me. In that book, it did, because I love a himbo.
Oh, don't we all? Don't we all?
And that book was just for himbos.
Okay.
Yeah, and so it's just okay. This is enjoyable.
You see the point of this,
fun. Yeah, I see what it's for. So it's that is probably the only thing that she's ever written that I've been okay, I can actually read this for a second time. Age of X-Men Extremis.
Oh. Oh no. Oh no, was not a fan.
It was not for me.
It's a no for me.
Yeah, so that was that. So going into X Factor, I really did try and keep an open mind. There were, again, parts of the book that the first like 2 issues that I actually really did enjoy. I like the stuff kind of about Mojo. I'm a Mojo fan, although I've also realized that despite being a Mojo fan, I don't really enjoy a lot of Mojo stories.
I'm not a fan or like his stories.
So no, I think for me, like when I think of a Mojo story, I think of the meta commentary that can come around with it.
Yeah, that part is
just fun. And just like what you can do with the characters and like how you can kind of do it. But I don't know. I guess I always kind of expect people to get a little bit more sinister with Mojo himself and like the whole everything is television. I don't care. It's all for consumption. And then like actually like making fun of the characters or just like getting a little bit deeper into their heads about like how they're feeling or things that they're going through. Yeah. And I don't think many writers, if any, have ever used Mojo in that way. It's more so he kind of comes in and it's like wacky, zany fun.
Yeah.
Or just like crazy reality television. It's just like, okay.
And I like fun. Don't get me wrong.
Love fun.
You know? A bitch likes fun. I like to have fun. But this, we'll get to X Factor next week. I'm sure we'll talk about it. But I'm not the biggest fan of Mojo because I feel like his world should be dipped in quickly and then get out. And the current X Factor run feels like it's going to spin an arc there. However, I don't really know now, considering the preview for the next X Factor is X of Swords tie-in, and I didn't see too much of the Mojo world there. So
yeah, I definitely think it's on pause, that story. And I think that's why the book got delayed, because the issue 5 doesn't come out until December.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a big
so I think that is why they delayed it, because it was like that issue was tying into the event, and then none of the other ones do.
Interesting.
So, yeah. 10 of Swords Creation #1 on sale now.
Get it, y'all.
If you can support your local comic shop, do that.
Yeah.
If you have to buy it on Comixology, do that.
That's great too.
Do them both, honestly, if you want. It's worth it.
Let's take a break and then we'll come back.
All right.
Right, we are back, and now we are going to get into, the announcements of the week. What's going on in the comic book world?
This was a very jam-packed week.
It was. A lot of delays.
Lots of delays.
A lot of delays. Unfortunately, we are living in some wild times right now.
Okay. Hello.
Oh, ciao. Ooh, these are some wild times right now, and just for the movie industry, they are experiencing it's real bad. it's real bad, and now Black Widow, which was supposed to now have come out in November, right? They pushed it back to November.
Yeah,
it's been pushed back again to May 2021. Eternals, which was pushed back to February, now is in November 2021.
Ridiculous.
Shang-Chi is in July of 2021. So there are no like major MCU movies coming out this year.
This is like the first time in 10 years, right?
Yeah. I think we got to start embracing the digital.
Absolutely.
I think we do, y'all. I think we do. I think that as much as I love to go to the movies, I do, it's a fun experience. And I think it's fantastic and a lot of fun to do, but I think it's just not an option right now. It's just not. So like holding out for it to become an option at this point just seems pointless.
The way the film industry has basically said, instead of trying to figure out new innovative ways to like push our product to our people, to the consumer, they're just saying, LOL, we'll just wait. And that's crazy to me.
Right?
It's just like, that is like absolutely crazy to me. And it's especially so I think about Candyman. the director of Candyman came out and she was like on Twitter and she was talking about, you know, how this was such just a big passion project and, you know, it was this sense of culture and you had to see it in the theater and like all this BS. And it was just like, what?
Yeah, I didn't get that.
The way that people have been evolving during COVID, like they are Netflix watch parties online. They are doing Zoom calls for these type of things. Like people are finding new ways to interact. And I get it. Like we're definitely in a pandemic. But unfortunately, the US is dumb. And they are not
very dumb.
Not handling this very well. And so instead of finding ways to really stop this virus and get in front of it, everyone's just kind of adapted to working around it or working with it. And the movie industry is no different. You know, there've already been Batman's gone back into production. Winter Soldier and Falcon's gone back into production. You know, people are starting to go back. So it's like you're just gonna make these movies and not put them out.
That doesn't make any sense. I feel like they are trying to hold out for, I don't know if it is due to artistry and, you know, feel like, oh, I have this film needs to be seen on an IMAX screen or it just needs to be seen in theaters, or if people are, you know, holding out because of money.
Oh, it's definitely the bottom line.
Oh, it's definitely money, yeah. And they feel like, oh my gosh, I need to put this thing out so it can make, you know, $1 billion. But I honestly feel like we have to, we got to realize that's just, those days are over.
I was about to say, and even so, like, should like movie theaters and everything like open back up, it's not going to be the same.
It's not. No,
they're not going to be packed up to capacity. Even like the places where freaking New Mutants and shit was open.
Yeah,
that movie did horrible.
Yeah, as it should have. Obviously, we don't
support whitewashing. We do not support the New Mutants film in any form or fashion. I don't support Fox X-Men.
No, we don't. Like, we do not.
let's draw that line right there.
No.
It's not happening. Mm-mm. And so, you know, it's just like you kind of really the film industry has to learn to adapt. These movies have to learn to adapt, especially when you think of like the MCU. You have an entire streaming app.
See a service for this. Like they tried it with Mulan. I feel like Mulan was a test, you know. I feel like that was hey, maybe we can put this out and make some money back from it, which granted their parks aren't open, which Disney makes most of their money from their parks. And I'm sure by having Mulan open this way and, you know, charging everyone the $30, they were able to gain some revenue or whatever for people who work there now, and they didn't have to fire any more people, you know, because of things being closed. However, I feel like I don't think that the success, or however you want to acknowledge how well Mulan did, I don't think that should be the end all be all. You know, they may want to test. I don't know. I think from what I've seen, I've seen that it made 200 million overseas already.
Okay.
And theaters are open kind of like anywhere. They're not. It's not like universally all of them are closed. Some places are open. Some places here in LA are open. So like I think well, they're mostly drive-ins here. But I think that shouldn't be the only litmus test, you know? I don't think that Mulan should be the only test. They should start putting more things out there for that service, because the whole theater experience and we made $800 million in the first week or whatever, I think those days
are done.
Those days are done. We've got to move forward.
And, you know, and it happens, you know. I mean, film is constantly evolving. We're not like watching black and white pictures anymore, you know. But I even think about things like the drive-in theater. Like the fact that hasn't really like jumped off anymore, or like more people are saying, okay, let's kind of like find a way to bring this back, so, you know, people can come out in their cars and stuff, and we like do that. I don't know. It's like, again, the way that the industry has kind of just said, we're just going to push it back until we can. Like, that's crazy to me, because you're just gonna continue. You're just gonna continue pushing your films back.
Exactly.
And it's like, I want the X-Men. All right.
Oh yeah, I want them.
I want my MCU X-Men.
Yeah.
And I can't get that if you keep pushing everything back.
And I feel like we're inching our way closer to the mutants being on screen. At least some kind of like mention or something.
I think they're gonna move it up.
I agree. I also
feel
feel like there might be some kind of hint in the Eternals just because of the connection between the mutants, but that's just my own personal guess.
I do think that this COVID thing has kind of, and this is just me like speculating wildly into the air. I think it has pushed Marvel to kind of rethink how they're doing a lot of their rollouts for stuff.
Oh yeah,
and just kind of like writing things in a little bit sooner, because again, I didn't want to have to, I'm pretty sure maybe there was another like 10-year plan for whatever the thing was going to be, but it's like we're already now what, a year past where we should have been already.
Yeah, for sure. I think Black Widow was supposed to come out in May of earlier this year, right?
Falcon and Winter Soldier was supposed to come out in August,
right? Yeah.
You know, and so like now that's coming out after WandaVision, which is coming out in December now. And so it's just kind of like, I think the way that they are writing things or like introducing things, it's gonna have to change. I want Blade.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that casting.
You know, Mahershala is Blade, and he's an older guy, so it's like,
right,
you kind of got to start getting him into some things before he's like, all right, I'm too old to do this.
Right. I'm sure he's shot something with it for it already.
Yeah.
Nice segue though with that WandaVision. What'd you think of the trailer?
It was cool.
Okay.
No. Oh my gosh. Choking on my laugh. No, it was fine. It gave me a Tom King Vision feel. Did you read that book?
I did not read that book. I do like Tom King. I'm a fan of what he does with some of his stories. I just never got around to reading that Vision book. I'm not the biggest Vision fan.
Again, Vision was another book similar to Hulk for me. No, that's not true, because I actually enjoy the Vision to a certain extent.
Okay.
But book is phenomenal. It's just a completely different take on Vision. And I think that's what a lot of these runs where I'm like, oh, you know, I like this, but I've never been into the character. It's because it's such a vast difference from who they normally are. You know what I'm saying? Like, the big thing about Jason Aaron's Thor was that he eventually became unworthy. Thor is my like favorite Thor ever.
Yes, with his Yarnborn, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I read that. It was good.
Like, bomb book, fantastic book. Immortal Hulk. It's like just this huge horror, like high concept Hulk story that's amazing. Vision by Tom King was just this really kind of creepy, surreal like take on like family and humanity and just like identity and stuff like that. And it was just really good things that happened in it. Really good writing. And another one that's just highly recommended. And it's I think it's only 12 issues. It's very self-contained. It's just one of those runs where it's like, I can get this and I'll be good.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've seen that he had like a family in it, and it seemed that they were kind of picking up from his Vision run, and I don't want to say House of M because I don't think that they should like pull from that too soon. But I do think that like her kind of House of M disassembled breakdown seems to be something that's going to be kind of pulled on for the show. So that should be interesting. I do like that they are kind of making her powers less telekinetic and more magic.
More magic-y.
Yeah, more magic and reality warping kind of stuff, which is awesome. It was time for her to get more into the magic instead of, you know, just making shit move.
Definitely. I mean, so like I said, the trailer was cool.
I like the Agatha Harkness. Like, I assume that's who she's going to be, right? Like,
I like that little part. I didn't have. I guess for me, I say it's cool because I didn't really have any expectations for it.
Okay, fair.
I didn't like know what to think, what was going to happen. So I just kind of went in like, oh, okay. And then I also feel like we'll probably get another one. That just kind of like shows a little bit more, and that'll probably get me more into it. I think for like the initial teaser, it was enough to be like, oh, okay, I'm interested.
It's coming. They got to put something out, or at least they feel like they got to put something out.
Got to. I'm with that.
So there was some casting news, you know, circling back to your homegirl,
my girlie,
She-Hulk. Yes.
So
Tatiana Maslany.
Love it. Yes. Love it.
Yes. Let's get into it.
Love. So I don't
know much about her. I've only seen some clips of Orphan Black. I've never watched it. I know. I should.
I'm one of those people who got into Orphan Black late.
Okay.
I got into it into last season.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, and I just like binged it, and she's just phenomenal in it. Like it's show she basic premise. There's clones. She plays all the clones.
Oh, dope.
Like phenomenal range. She does all of it just with ease. Like you believe it. You feel all the characters are different. So I'm already excited.
They went for an actor then, okay?
Like, yeah. Okay. I am like super excited to see her play all the different ranges of Jennifer, because I think Jennifer is one of those characters who has that. Like she can do the humor, she can do the sadness. She breaks the fourth wall. Like she's a lawyer, she gets serious. You know, it's I think she's gonna be amazing. I'm very eager to see how they render her as She-Hulk.
Yeah, that's gonna be interesting.
That is going to be very interesting.
Do you want CGI or do you want just her to be green?
I think I want CGI.
Yeah, for sure.
Just because I feel like her being green,
mm-hmm.
I just feel like that's gonna be too much for TV.
Now, how do you feel about her being, if she's gonna be green, She-Hulk is She-Hulk all the time, and she would be CGI'd all the time, right?
Yeah. That's
or do you think that they're gonna do like she can change back and forth kind of thing?
I think they'll let her change back and forth in the beginning.
Okay.
And then maybe eventually we might get a couple episodes where she's like stuck in She-Hulk form or something like that. But I definitely think she'll change back and forth. But I'm excited. Again, She-Hulk is a character I love. Tatiana is an amazing actress. I think that it's going to be good. I have no idea. I think I read something that I forgot who they said the first Tatiana
Maslany, the actress?
No, like the villain.
Oh, Titania.
Yeah, Titania.
Oh, she's gonna be the villain?
I read something that said she.
Oh man, I like her.
Yeah, and you know her and She-Hulk go back and forth.
They go back. They do.
Yeah, they
do not like each other.
So I'm excited for that as well. I'm just ready. I think I was not expecting it. I've been trying not to fan cast,
right?
Just because I feel like a lot of the comic book industry has gotten really good at casting.
Yeah.
And so like I kind of trust whatever they do. So it's just like I'm not even going to think about like who I would want to play something or like who I like to do this. I'm more of the part where it's like I like to see such and such do a comic book movie, not I like to see such and such be the specific character.
Right.
Because it's like I feel like now whoever they get, they're going to cast them for the right role.
Agreed. And has it ever been a case where the big fan casting has ever like come true?
Yeah.
They mostly kind of do their own thing.
It was Jason Momoa as Aquaman.
There was a fan campaign for that?
Yeah.
Oh.
It was
Well, I feel like people just want to see him with his shirt off, which I mean, I'm not mad at. Okay, I'm gonna take your silence as we're gonna move forward and talk about the She-Hulk writer, Dana Schwartz. She is the one who did Pickle Rick.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes. And I just rewatched Pickle Rick episode like yesterday. Fantastic. Got me super excited. I love it. Like everything about this show is perfect. This show is made for me.
Yeah, they heard
you. Listening. They were listening. You. I love it. When
your
they listen,
are getting all the shine. Your faves are getting all the shine.
You know, when they get it right, they get it right.
They do.
Okay.
Speaking of more casting, Aldis Hodge.
Wow.
When they get it right, they get it right.
This week was good. Again, another one totally unexpected. Never saw it coming.
No.
Love it though. First of all, I'm in love with Aldis Hodge. Like,
how can you not?
The man is beautiful.
He fine.
All right. Okay. Like,
it is what it is. He fine.
Like, let's talk about it. Him being Hawkman in that little harness.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
I'll be there.
Oh yeah.
I'll be there.
Oh yeah. Well, digitally, I assume. But it don't matter. I'm gonna be there.
Like, that's one, even if it's in the theater, I'll be there. I'll risk it.
Yeah.
I'm going for that. Really excited for him. He's a really talented actor too, and he's one of those guys. I don't think he's gotten a chance to break through the way that he deserves. So to finally like see him and potentially see him in something big like this, it's really exciting.
Yeah, that's dope. I'm excited to see what they kind of do with Hawkman. Right? Do you think they're going to take him through his whole reincarnation thing, or do you think they're just kind of leave it in Egypt? What do you think they're going to do with that?
If they do, I kind of hope they go with the new updated origin that got hit in his book, which is basically he reincarnates through space and time.
Oh, okay.
So that way we don't have to go through is he Carter Hall versus Kator Hall of Thanagar, and it's he's both of them.
Okay, it's cool.
Just get it over with. I don't want to do all of that.
Yeah.
He's here. He's a Hawk. He wears a harness. He's got a mace.
Let's keep moving forward.
Boom. There you go. He might. But yeah, super excited about that one.
Yeah, that'll be a lot of fun. I think that's it. That's all of the announcements going on in the comic book world this week.
Oh, that Nick Fury show. Was it a Nick Fury show, or is it a show that Nick Fury is going to be in?
I feel like that was just announced yesterday, and I feel like there were too many different conflicting reports. One, it was a Nick Fury show. Then it was Nick Fury. He's coming back as Nick Fury
in a show. Yeah. Okay.
So like, who knows if it is, Nick Fury the show, or if it's Agents of S.W.O.R.D. and he's just in it or something, or whatever it's gonna be. But it does seem like he coming back. Come give him some more checks.
Okay.
Okay, and I'm not mad at that.
All right, Sam Jackson is fun. I'm
love him.
lie. I don't really think I need to see Nick Fury anymore in a Marvel movie.
No.
But again, we love Sam Jackson.
We love Sam Jackson.
He's gonna make it fun. So
let him get his eye patch and his check and call it a day. I like it.
Okay, it's like, do you, boo? I love it.
Perfect. All right. Well, then let's take a break, and then we'll come on back for the relaunch. Let's do it. All right, and we are back.
What's up?
This is the relaunch portion of the show where we're going to pick our favorite characters. This week it's mostly going to be me, but for this portion of the show, we pick a character and kind of give a brief background, what we think of the character, where they are, and where we want to see them go. And this week, I'm just going to go ahead and get it out of the way. And I'm going to pick Polaris.
Oh my gosh, I'm shocked. And before you even get into that, I just think we really need to comment on your transition from Jean Grey stan to Polaris stan.
Jean is still my girl, but I have recently, probably over the course of in 2020, I think is when I realized that
Polaris is the one.
Polaris is way more me than Jean. My favorite characters are usually always ones that I can kind of relate to from a personality perspective. Mm-hmm. And when I was younger, I could be a little naively idealistic like Jean. As I've gotten older, I mind my business like Lorna.
She is good for minding her business. She don't bother nobody.
Homegirl minds her business. And when she shows up, she's showing up for mutants. So
Yeah.
I can get behind that. Her real name is Lorna Dane. She is the second female mutant to join the X-Men after Jean. She was kind of brought in at the time, back I think in like 1968 or something like that. She was brought in X-Men 49, I think it was, and there was a Mesmero used this machine to like call new mutants who had latent mutant powers, and she got called there. She slipped on some ice by Iceman and broke free of the mesmerism. And then she found out that she had magnetic powers, and they told her that she was Magneto's daughter. And I think they were kind of setting that up to be like the whole like, oh my gosh, this is Magneto's daughter thing, and she was going to be this bigger thing. But the X-Men at that time ended up getting canceled.
The 05 curse.
We've talked about this. And the 05 do seem to tend to get books canceled, but she ended up getting canceled. And then when they brought the X-Men back in the Claremont era, and actually I think a little bit before the Claremont era, she ended up being possessed by Malice.
Iconic. I do remember those days.
Oh yeah, she was possessed by Malice, and during that time, she kind of got to flex a little bit. You saw her use her powers a lot more, kind of because she was possessed and she was the villain. But she was able to break free from all of that. Her half sister Zaladane ended up capturing her.
The queen. That's who I want to come back. I love Zaladane.
Zaladane ended up coming back and taking her powers, and then that kind of happened. And she got her powers back. So in the beginning of the whole X-Men run, during those formative years of the X-Men, she kind of missed out on being involved in, that Outback era and a lot of that Claremont stuff, because she was possessed, or she didn't have her powers. And then when she joined X Factor after the 05 left, and they kind of went back to the X-Men books in the 90s, she took over, and her, Havoc, Quicksilver, I think it was Wolfsbane, and Strong Guy, they kind of took over for the X Factor team, and they became like a government team.
Okay. And Multiple Man was in that too, wasn't he?
He was. Oh yeah, and Multiple Man. He was pretty cool in that book too. Shout out to Quicksilver. We want him back. We want him back. And in this book, I think is when I actually learned, oh my gosh, I really love this character, because in X Factor is when I read the entire series. So as it started with the original 5 and then transitioned over to the other team, I noticed that I really liked Jean in that book, because she was very herself. Her relationship with Scott was there, but it wasn't the only reason for her to be there. Right. And you actually got to see their relationship. Like, he proposed to her and she turned him down. You got to see like the development of their relationship. It wasn't just some thrown together thing. Yeah. But then I started to realize that the things that I liked in Jean were always in Polaris all the time. Whereas Jean kind of like her assertiveness and her kind of, I can kind of control my abilities. It wanes sometimes with her. Yeah, and when it does wane, it ends up being filled with her idealism and her empathy, which I love her for. Which I know some people can get annoyed with, but I love her for. And Polaris, she's kind of that all the time. She joined X Factor because she needed a check. The issue opens with her saying, hey, I think it was either Quicksilver or Multiple. Actually, it was Multiple Man who was like, why are you even joining this team? Like, what are you doing here? And she was like, not everyone has things handed to them. Like, I gotta get paid. I gotta pay my own rent. Relatable. I gotta do what I gotta do. And at that time, X Factor was the government team that handled mutant affairs, as far as like, the Brotherhood issues, or whenever they would do things on American soil, quote unquote, or whenever they would do things out there that needed to get handled. X Factor was the team that got sent in to do that. And Lorna was the one who would kind of hold the team down, and she was the one who would kind of speak up for mutant rights whenever things would happen. Her and Havoc went on this date to kind of work on their relationship, which I also appreciated, because I am one that would rather see the relationship get worked on than just assume that they're together. And for Lorna and Havoc, he had already just cheated on her with Madeline Pryor. So there was really no need for them to get back together. But I get like they tried to work it out. And ultimately, they didn't get back together. You know, Lorna was like, I think we need to move on. That was a time, a season. Let's move forward. And I appreciate that from her. Relatable. And during her time with X Factor, she also went and got like therapy, and she talked about how she wants to feel both sexy and like show her body off, but she also is still like getting comfortable with it, and like I can kind of relate to some stuff like that. And I appreciated the fact that, you know, Polaris talks about her powers with magnetism and how she struggles sometimes with both repelling people and wanting to be by herself and wanting to attract people towards her because she does like being around people. And, you know, I relate. So
Polaris,
I love her. And so like now she is currently an X Factor on Krakoa. You know, Krakoa is the mutant nation, you know, that everyone's some people are up in arms about. I love. I think it's a fantastic move for the X-Men and mutants as a whole.
We'll get into that.
Yeah.
Another time.
For real. And currently she's on X Factor and she isn't leading the team. North Star is. And she was the one who kind of got it was a choice. It was obviously a choice because Leia, like, she likes North Star clearly, which like, fine, I get. And I am totally okay with Polaris not leading that team. That's fine. Mostly because I'd rather her leave that book and go someplace else. But I think she is it's not that she's a bad fit for X Factor. It's that I feel like she's too powerful to be on that team for what they're kind of doing. Which is just like sleuthing around, kind of like the Scooby-Doo bunch. And I'd rather her not be in that. Currently she's on the X Factor team. I would like to relaunch her. And I would have her leading an Acolytes team on like the Krakoan Acolytes team. And this team I think should be made up of a mixture of some X-Men, some OG X-Men, some Brotherhood members, Exodus obviously because we love him, and
I do love Exodus,
and probably one of the like an Academy X kid like Mercury or something. That'd be dope. And I think that team should be kind of the team that goes out to kind of do what Wolverine did in that She-Hulk book, where there is a mutant out there who kind of, you know, doesn't want to come to Krakoa, but they kind of are attacking people or whatever, you know. They
go out and like stop that mutant,
and they go out and kind of stop that. So like kind of like, you know, remember in Hoxpox with Sabretooth, right, how he was the one that was out
being crazy
being unruly or whatever. I feel like there should be a team that goes and handles that and does like, you know, mutant justice. So that's where I would kind of put.
I really appreciate that too, and I think it falls in line with a lot of those people who have kind of been complaining that they still, you know, they just feel like, why would every mutant want to go to Krakoa?
Exactly. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, there should be more who are just like, I don't want to do that. I don't care, because truly, everybody should want to go.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like, especially a lot of the villains. You know, I've been one of those people who say, you know, these villains came to Krakoa and they accepted it because, like, why do they need to fight the X-Men anymore? So many of the X-Men's villains who are mutants basically just wanted mutant supremacy, or they wanted mutants to have a seat at the table. And it's just like, and so when Krakoa was formed, it's kind of like, oh, this is what I've always wanted. And I'm still getting, like Selene, you know, she is getting to feed on people constantly. So it's like, why does she need to go out and be crazy if she can get exactly what she wants? I think you can get into it a little bit deeper because you have so many different personalities with the villains. It's like their egos. They probably feel like they should be on the council and stuff like that. But of course, all of that can come later. Right now, we're just here to live. Like,
just gotta live right now. Yeah,
we've opened it up. We've been fighting. We want to stop. We got this space now. So it's like, here we are. But then again, all those people who didn't want to come what are they doing? Who's going to get them? How are we getting justice for them? And then it's like, even when you do get them, do you give them to the country of wherever that mutant was? Do you bring them back to Krakoa to make them face justice there? How do you kind of get into the logistics of that? Yeah. So I enjoy that.
I think that would be such a dope book. I think if the Marauders are supposed to be out there rescuing mutants who can't make it to Krakoa, I think there should be a book for handling mutants who don't want to come to Krakoa but are still out there doing whatever some crazy shit, you know? Yeah. And I think that would be a dope book.
I really like that. Who is on the team with her?
I would have, that's a good question. I would have Polaris, obviously. I'd have her lead it. I would have, you know what? I would have Exodus kind of be the like head of it though.
Okay.
You know, like he's like the council member that kind of sanctioned it.
Okay.
Or whatever, like probably him and Magneto, but like mostly him kind of being the leader of that. Because I think he needs some more stuff to do
most definitely
on Krakoa. I would put Mercury on the team because I think that would be a lot of fun.
She's great.
I think Nightcrawler would be dope on that team.
Okay. I would really love to see Nightcrawler and Exodus interact.
Yeah, I would think the two of them interacting and the morality of what they're doing, I think would be great with him around. I think that he would bring some interesting interactions there. Since Frenzy is now going to be in space, I know, right? I thought about either putting Colossus on that team.
Okay.
Because it's kind of missing some strength, you know? But I don't know. I'd have to think about it because I do. Sometimes I make my teams in like RPG, like.
So you got your brawler.
You got your brawler. Yeah. Oh yeah. I think about all that whole like team dynamic kind of thing.
Okay. We're gonna come.
We'll think about it. We'll think about it.
When you get a full team, you're gonna tell us about that
for sure. I'll let you know.
Okay. Yeah. I love that relaunch of Polaris and the Acolytes.
That's where I would do her. Get into Polaris, y'all. Get into some of that old X Factor stuff was good. The all new X Factor with Peter David was really good.
That was really
you
good.
Got a lot more of her. Get into Lorna Dane.
I love it. Another relaunch.
Yes. All right, y'all. So yeah, that was it. That was
the show.
Another relaunch.
The first episode.
I hope you guys enjoyed it.
Tell us what you think.
You can tweet us at Another Relaunch. You can email us at anotherrelaunch@gmail.com. You can tweet me at UncannyLZ on Twitter, Instagram, all that.
You can add me at Keenan Lance with an underscore at the end on Twitter, and on Instagram it is $1 Million Madman.
Ooh, nice.
I know. It's a reference to something. We'll get into that later.
Okay.
But yeah, like again, let us know what you guys think. Tell us, talk to us. We're ready. We're here. We got opinions. We love to talk.
Yeah. Let's do it, y'all. Another relaunch.
Bye.